Coach Jones.
Turn my mic up.
They say the streets is the short stop.
I don't know the rest, Reed.
You don't know
Tell me the rest, Reed.
You don't know. You want to come behind me.
Either you slinging crack rock or
you
got a wicked jump shot.
Yes, sir. Rest in peace, B.I.G.
Oh, man.
B.I.G. said it best, man. We got, Coach Tommy J to the left. Welcome to Keep It 100. 99 ain't good enough.
Ain't good enough.
And old Debonair D to my right.
Yes, sir.
Typically, today's
And
topic,
they call him Coach Reed in the middle. Oh.
Coach Reed in the middle. Monkey in the middle. Dodgeball.
Oh, you play dodgeball now.
You going on your rant today?
You play dodgeball now.
I'm going to get destroyed.
The person who's responsible for letting y'all play will get fired.
Hey, you have a rant today?
I do have a rant today.
Before I give today's title and topic?
Go ahead.
There's a 6-year-old kid shot in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Only reason I know what that is we got family up there. That's where Eastern Michigan University is also, EMU. And a 6-year-old kid was shot retrieving a bicycle from a neighbor's yard.
Retrieving his bicycle.
Yeah, you know
I
how the
read
kids
that,
be in the neighborhood
yeah.
riding around. You just throw it over there. He went back to get it.
I read that.
The adult approached him with a sledgehammer at first. I guess the kid ran. Kid went back to get his bike. He shot from inside the house, out of the house, hit the kid in his arm. He survived. He was released later on $10,000 bond. Let me look in the camera when I say this, fellas. I am not advocating rioting or tearing anything up. But if I were, I think that would be a case to riot and tear some stuff up.
Wow.
My rant is over.
Well, why don't we call the police and have him arrested?
He got arrested and he was released on $10,000 bond.
Well, we can't do nothing about the judges and all of that now.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, he killed a kid that was from.
He
I
didn't-
know we
he
can't.
didn't kill him.
He didn't kill him, he
No,
shot
no,
him.
it went through and through.
and that still ain't no.
Yeah, so but he shot
He shot
what?
out from
Did he shoot a
inside the house.
European? Did he shoot a
little-
Asian? Did he
No,
shoot
a
a
black
Japanese?
kid. He was an Asian
what?
kid. He was a
He
black kid shot by an Asian person.
But the kid is what?
Black.
Who don't exist in the court?
Right.
Okay.
There you go.
He's non-existent.
And that's why he got $10,000 bail.
$10,000 bail.
Hence my call for civil unrest.
Talk to me.
That's all I'm saying.
A major era in U.S. history is the crack era. We are going to touch on that today. Typically, it's doctors, it's psychologists, it's novelties, and people touch on that. And we have enough experience on the panel of somebody, dealing with it and living it and being around it. Coach Jones was born in the what, Coach? You were born in what era? 19 what?
64.
And I was 78 and you're what?
75.
75. Crack hit 80s
Early
and 90s.
80s.
They say as early as 1960. So we're going to be very abstract, but we're going to be very personal with this. We're going to touch on the demographics.
Yeah, we ain't gonna touch on like the actual particulars of, we just like what I like to call the mushroom effect of it.
Yes.
All the stuff that permeated from it and was, affected on many different levels.
It's just a second scourge, man.
That's what it is.
That's all it is. Because the first one was heroin,
Yeah.
and a little bit before my time of being born, but it was heroin, and that was also in the black communities, and same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think generations over generations was affected because of this era. People use African American. I don't use that term because you can't be from two continents. So we'll say just Americans.
Just Americans.
But when you're talking about a severely distressed culture of people behind one era, which can seem targeted in a sense. So I personally can remember being in my barracks, in my hood, in my neighborhood, and I remember when it first hit, and the immediate effect it had on my family. There wasn't anybody of maternal or paternal that created me that wasn't on it, and then being on it, seeing the effects of what it had on them as a human being, and also us as a family. Having that experience and seeing it, and now being away from it for over 2 decades now, and now can reflect on it. I mean, some of the documentaries I've seen and some of the things that I've seen, I mean, it touches on a few things, but it really don't really hit home, you know, with me, because a lot of it they're just trying to glorify something that wasn't there. I know there was an agenda on removing certain people out of the family, you know, doing these things to, you know, different families. So, with that being said, and your experiences, I'm gonna start with you, Debonair. You know, in regards to this, if we've been wanting to speak on this for, you know, quite some time. Throw the reel out there and tell me what you grab in regards to the fish and
The real of it, one of the things that sticks out to me more than anything, and this is probably gonna sound weird, is just the breakdown of how younger black males will communicate with older black males. I mean, you done been around when dudes getting off, they pumping.
right.
You know, you may have an older guy that worked for the housing authority. He coming up the cop. They talking to him like a dog.
Yeah. The respect or lack thereof.
No respect.
Right.
You know, I've seen that. I've seen them get double teamed and triple teamed. And I used to always think to myself, can't y'all just sell the stuff? And it don't got to be really all that. But I just think there's a breakdown, and I'm only speaking since I've been born and been around. Like, I think that crack era had a big breakdown in young male to older male relations.
I'm gonna differ with that on I think that breakdown was always there because it's been taught, and I think the crack era and a lot of drugs enhanced it.
Okay.
Enhanced it, yeah.
It
Okay.
enhanced it
Okay.
because that's been taught and tried to make it where it permeates throughout our culture.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like I would just sit it. I used to be like, oh, the man just came up here, he trying to score, and y'all talking to him like a dog, and
Yeah.
kicking him all in that. Like,
Yeah.
it was just wild. It was wild.
Seen that a lot amongst family, man. You talking about, you know, something where I personally couldn't imagine, because they say you're talking about something more addictive than, you know, anything that we've, you know, ever experienced that they created in the lab.
Right.
So as I sit back and I reflect and talk about it now, I'm like, you know, I had a different opinion, obviously, or a different observation, obviously, at 16 years old. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is going on? You didn't know how to feel. You didn't know what to feel. But that's how you felt when you see somebody scrambling around one day, and then you use my mother, for example, who I didn't see for an extended period of time, but she also showed the full autonomy of who she was as a mother and tried to be as nourishing as possible, you know, whatever the case may be. And still to this day, why I personally never disrespected her because of being on that particular drug in that particular moment. You know, been free from doing it for now over 20 years, but just during that point, you're trying to understand how can, you know what I mean, somebody that's supposed to be nurturing and nourishing to you can steal your field trip money or sell a pair of shoes or, you know, do the things that you had to, you know, literally be able to deal with as a kid growing up.
Right.
Like, what the, you know what I mean, is this normal?
I'll tell you this, when I was younger and a little bit more naive, I thought love was stronger than addiction. But now as an adult, I think addiction is definitely stronger than love in some cases.
But to piggyback what you're saying, I think because we've never learned the full unconditional term of love either.
Right.
I didn't get to see a lot of stuff like that firsthand. You know, stories, and I did see some things, but it wasn't that close to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was older than y'all during that time too, and I can kind of relate. I know alcohol was big, and that had that effect in my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't a crack necessarily, but it was alcohol, and the things that it did, and it was a lot of. Unfortunately, I was sheltered a lot from a lot of stuff, you know. And but you see them things, man, and it make you wonder, make you think, and then it make you also say, but for the grace of God, there go I.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that how fortunate we are to be here. You know what I mean? Where we at, how fortunate we are that we have a common mind and we can treat each other like men and show love and caring for each other. We're very fortunate to be in the moment we in.
Absolutely.
Because we seen what the other side is and what it can be.
Let me ask you a question, Coach.
Yeah.
In being, you know, playing in the heart of the crack era,
Yes.
have you experienced or had any friends or any culpability that you had to be able to deal with? You know what I mean? From that standpoint, obviously we knew some guys that, maybe have died because of possibly being on cocaine, but not crack or whatever. And not to sway away from the actual era.
Yeah.
But
Believe it or not, no.
okay.
No, I really didn't. And like I said, I sheltered or whatever the case may be. I think just being a little older when that hit
Yeah.
Right.
helped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so my choice
It was
is,
low.
I can control a little more of where I was and
Gotcha.
who I was with.
Got you.
Versus y'all were a little younger, and you might have been in some situations you couldn't just go or go. You were kind of there.
Well,
See what I'm saying?
I'll give. I mean, just a small, tad bit of the effect that it personally had on me, and I've seen it being smoked. Like I said, I've had immediate family members literally be on crack. My responsibility level as a 7-year-old was like a 20-year-old. I had to, cook 4-course meals. I was changing diapers. I was, helping raising my younger cousins because everybody around me that created them was strung out on crack. And it hit us, like it hit my immediate family very, very hard.
Right.
And then when you look at the lack of support or the lack of family structure, or whatever it may be, I seen that, pretty handsomely. Even, with, my father, my mother, my aunt, all of them in regards to that. And now to just see the immediate effect that it had on you, you had to grow up very fast. You had to be very numb to a lot of stuff. You had to be very emotionless to a lot of different things. And you didn't really, and we touched on this off the air, survival rate was at an all-time high for us.
Yeah.
Me, my cousins, and all of us, in regards to that, that particular unit. So it was very, now looking at it now and knowing all the stuff I personally had to work through as a man to just understand certain dynamics about life, it's directly affiliated with the crack era, not being able to have that intimate time with my mother or my father, or whatever it may be. Go ahead, Coach.
I know I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you good. You good.
Because Coach can't hold no thought too long.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time I really kind of got a look-see at it is that I was with somebody I knew, and we was going to projects, not here, it was somewhere
Right.
else, and we was going to visit somebody. So the people we knew was in a crack house.
Mm-hmm.
And they were selling it, and people was coming by and buying it. And then we sat there for a couple of hours chopping it up, just hitting the bill, drinking, whatever. And then I seen people come by 30 minutes later wanting to buy more. But they ain't had nothing. They taking off their necklace. Then they coming back later, and I do this, I do that. And I was like, what the hell?
Get naked.
It's time to go.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's time to go. Yeah. And that was the first little stretch I got of, and I was like, what would make you do that?
Yeah, it creates a firm, foundation mentally when you kind of looking at like something being that powerful.
I think my first direct, like kind of like that experience you had. So I went to Wilson, and the thing back in the day, Jones, was, Tommy Jones them doing good. They got a house in Palm River or Progress Village or even Bloomingdale.
Right.
There's a girl, she's a little older than me, and they lived out there. But you know how when your mom would work downtown, they use the downtown address so the kids could go to Wilson.
Right.
And she would come to school dressed to the nines every day. And by halfway through, she ain't looking as cold as she used to look. And she's not in school. Then I don't see her until like after we graduate.
Wow.
And she's like, man, my dad had his own trucking company. He started messing around on the road, got hooked on crack, and yada, yada, yada. She's like, he used to be selling my clothes. That's what she told me.
Wow.
She's like, he used to literally go in her closet and be selling her clothes. And it was one of my home. Like, I grew up with her, and it literally, like it hit. Like, the house that I grew up in, my grandma was born in 1912, my granddad in 1910.
Yeah.
So in 1982, my granddad is 72 years old. He didn't drink, they didn't smoke, they didn't curse. So we was insulated from that standpoint. But now when I'm going to football practice in West Tampa, or I'm going here, I'm seeing stuff and it ain't adding up to my young mind.
It's not adding up,
Right.
Yeah.
I remember going to somebody's house and I was like, but what y'all got to eat in here? And he was like, my mom ain't been home in 3 days. I was like 3 what?
Yeah.
I was like, we need to go.
Stretches
we gotta
with
go
us.
back to my house.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
And see,
so that was kind of
that thing right there, man. The shock waves that sent. I don't know that we can measure that.
No.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult sitting here and hearing that. But when you look at the era, even on the flip side, I would even go. We know, okay, obviously I had stuff stolen and sold and all that. Which, again, in my and I like the reference you use in my young mind.
Yeah, you thought.
You know what I mean? It's all reactory. Like I'm reaction. It's
Yeah.
all reaction. Like what the, you know what I'm saying? Like you take some shoes and you do this, you do that, you sell this, you sell some some clothes, or, whatever, because you're trying, and it was so affordable.
Yeah.
So it made.
You know what I'm
it
saying?
Created,
Like,
it
That's how it was
created.
created.
Bro, it created literally like a whole nother economy.
Yeah, like so now that's a great
A whole
tailspin
nother economy.
to this. Now on the other side, the peers that were selling it, now look at the effect that it had, on them. Now look at the mass incarceration, because most of them we know landed where they landed at. Now you got a reasoning to create. All right, let's take most of this culture and we're going to lock them up because of
Yeah.
this small stone that they're selling.
Right.
But if you look back on history, that's always been the case.
Always.
Oh yeah,
It's
especially in
always
the United States of
Yes,
America.
yeah. It's
That's-
been
that's-
the case.
that's definitely always-
That's what was used when the Asians came here working on the railroad. You know what I mean?
But psychologically, for me, and y'all know me and been around me, that I'm always, preaching that, because I can admit to every last person in this room the level of trauma I dealt with because of that era alone. Now saying it made me who I am today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was a different level of survival. It was a different level of toughness. It was a
Different
different.
kind.
Yeah, it was different. It's like, okay, we know we all have something within us, a level of toughness, a level of wherewithal, a level of bounce back. Right. You know what I mean? But there's just certain things that you shouldn't have to endure at 7 years old, at 6 years old, at 8 years old. It just shouldn't happen.
And I don't know if this is even an oxymoron. We all know some beautiful crack stories.
Yeah.
I know guys grew up in the projects in East Tampa. Mama got in trouble. He might be 16. Two younger siblings might be 10 and 8. She go to prison. He getting off his package just enough to buy a car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He hold it down while she going.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no
make sure
doubt.
the kids get to school. He got him a little Regal.
That's the survival.
You know,
you're
and-
speaking
and-
to a different
Yeah.
survival
And,
mode.
and this sounds horrible. He couldn't have made that type of money working 4 hours a day at McDonald's.
Yeah.
He was only gonna make that money buying this little package,
But-
making
but-
him.
but
You know what I'm saying, Jones? He's profiting $100 a day, putting it up.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna be able to do that at McDonald's.
But maximizing that level of survival is what the level of adjustment we had to be able to do. You're right, we didn't learn it the other way, but how many moms, how many households are taken care of because of crack?
a lot.
And
lot
not
lot
because they
destroyed,
had to
though.
do it, it's because they had to do it.
It was destroyed and it was taken care of.
Yeah,
Right.
it was taken care of. So when you look at saying, okay, because back then in the 80s and 90s, and I've been like, my auntie was evicted. A couple of was evicted a couple of times. When you live in the projects, if you don't pay your rent at the time, when you come home, they moved everything out on the side of the streets. Like literally everything out on the side of the street. I came home, I left just to go walk my cousin from Dunbar. We walked to the house and the couches, the bags bagged up outside. I'm like, what happened? You got nowhere to stay. Now they all got to come to where we at. So back then, when you're talking about the crack era and being evicted, like you had a level of survival to say, all right, look, let me give me a little $100, man. How much the rent?
Give him a little package.
Yeah.
A little package. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you and then you may be too young. In most families, we already know when you live there, ain't nobody really working. Nobody don't have a high level of academia, which don't really present saying you're gonna make a lot of money. But that's how the system is set up. That's how it's set up.
Right.
So you know when to say, okay, I got a single mom here. You know what I mean? Dad going out here doing whatever he doing, and we got to survive. We got to eat. Well, you only getting $250 a month from AFDC and welfare.
Hint, one time, then we do something about role models. Hint, why the drug dealer became a role model.
Right.
Because he started taking care
Right.
of everybody.
Yeah. So
With
that
them funds was readily available.
It was regularly available.
Yeah. Well, everything we talk about, look how we talk about, because we do talk a lot of sports
Right.
on here and everything. I think it decimated the black baseball player.
Oh my God.
Jones. Like
I think
Oh, listen.
people who are from Tampa know
Listen.
that when Mario and all my cousins played baseball,
Listen.
yeah.
the Yellow
Boom.
Jackets.
Yeah.
I ain't talking about guys that was good as little league players.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like
Baseball,
couple
like-
pros came out of there.
Yeah.
Like it killed it.
It's
Killed
over.
It literally
Yeah.
killed it.
Because now you're taking the same level of talent, athleticism, skill set, all that, and putting it in a specialized sport. Catch, run, hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it.
And it was already, I could be wrong, probably the least amount of African Americans were in baseball.
Probably. In the
Prob-
80s,
in the
90s,
80s,
probably.
yeah.
You know, but it was a lot more than it is now.
lot
but
more.
Listen,
A
wait,
lot-
like I'm talking about probably 10 times more.
So, and y'all know my son was a baseball player only.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
would be watching baseball when he was younger, and he'd be like, "Oh no, Dad, I can't remember. You know, I don't know a lot about baseball. Like Adam Jones. Or did he play for the Braves? Did I just mention
Yeah,
that?
he played with the Braves.
No, Andrew Jones.
Andrew Jones.
So we talking one day. Andrew Jones gets on the interview, doesn't speak a word of English.
He didn't know he was Cuban.
No, so
Right.
so then now they start looking for guys like my son started looking for players that he had a
See
little
them-
bit more relatability
Them dudes
to.
like Ricky Henderson, Vida Blue,
What's the guy from
Dave Parker.
Bartow played for this now they had Quentin McCutcheon, something McCutcheon?
McCutcheon.
Andrew McCutcheon.
Andrew McCutcheon.
And now it was like, oh, he's from Bartow.
Yeah.
He speaks English.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
But them
he wanted
dudes-
one of his posts.
Isaac
gone.
Smith.
Right.
Them
Vida
dudes
Blue.
gone.
My grandma, before I was born, she had a poodle named Blue.
Oh yeah,
And it
Vida
was named
Blue.
after Vida Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willie Starger.
Yeah.
What's the cat we were talking about the other day? With
Doc
the,
Ellis.
with the candy eyes. Played with Willie Starger.
Candy
them.
eyes.
No, his eyes look like marbles, Reed.
Played with
Is it Dave Parker?
Dave Parker. Yeah,
Because I told you I watched the
Played
documentary.
with the
on it.
Pittsburgh Pirates. Then went. We could name the name, and they were stars.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? But
Now
then when that
we
hit,
got- I don't know much about baseball.
now I'm sure the fact that the other sports too, but the number is so much greater of brothers that play football and play basketball.
And we also grew up, me and Reed did, in a generation of parents that there was very little parent participation. These guys I played with at the Spartans for 8-9 years had like hardly ever seen their parents.
And
before.
that's what that got affected.
They walked to practice by themselves. They walked up there on game day.
Yeah, 'cause
and
I-
I've never seen their parents.
I told
before.
y'all when we did
That was me.
when we did that, I never forget. My dad was at everything,
Yeah.
every game.
I couldn't imagine.
Might be there with his greasy cloak. He was
Yeah.
there at every game.
We grew up in a generation of
imagine.
guys. You played with them for years and you never saw their parents.
Yeah,
Literally.
Yeah.
Let me give y'all something I wrote down, just touching on this, and I think it'll
You wrote it in cursive?
it'll give us. I need to start by writing in cursive. I actually just put it together and put it in my memos. But when you look at the low socioeconomic level in families that have struggled for generations with persistent poverty, right? So you still see that now. There's just areas we have to live in because of people just economically can't survive in other areas, right? So especially in the inner city. So these conditions were further strained during the 80s and 90s of the crack era, the use of crack cocaine. So for many, crack use became an obsession, dominated their lives, and superseded family responsibilities. Kind of what we just, touched on, in regards to that. So this behavior placed additional pressure on already stressed care support networks. So prevailing two households during this period in the 2000s, children were born as members of the crack generations and avoiding the use of crack, but faced major deficiencies from their difficult childhoods. So as I look now and I see, certain things I knew, and I don't know how I learned it. I don't know what aligned for me to be able to learn it. And I don't know if anybody ever heard me say it. But if I would have took, full explosion autonomy of everything that was instilled in me from the crack era, right? Like corporal punishment, negativity, verbal abuse, limit, certain things that you're going to be able to exercise and do, no education, be obsessed and addicted to certain things, no discipline, all that, right? Now I'm going to just be the same parent and say I have 3 kids, and I keep that same mentality towards my 3 kids. What happens? It continues to be able to trickle down, to everybody else. So those difficult childhoods, I am now saying, oh, I am at least out here surviving. I am at least out here doing this. I'm at least out here making decent money. Let me spew the same thing to my kids. You know what I'm saying? So it literally, in a very efficient way, multiplied so many of the same aligned mindsets after the crack era. And then you're born in the 2000s, you got kids, and now this deficiency becomes it was masterful.
Yes.
Well,
No,
I'ma
it
say
served
this.
its purpose.
I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound a bit controversial. This 99. We keep it 100 here, right?
Honda.
we ain't gonna blame everything on crack
No.
because I was born in 1975.
Hence, that's why I said it was an enhancer.
Yeah. I was born
Yeah.
in 75. I came from Tampa General to my grandma's house. Wasn't no crackheads in 1975. So let's just, there's some parents who've been incompetent well before crack came along.
No doubt.
You know
No
what I'm
doubt.
saying? So we ain't gonna blame it all on crack.
I don't
but
think that's
like
controversial.
Jones say, it enhanced it.
But
You know what I'm saying? Like there was a bunch of enhancements that went on.
But
and
if we're talking about the actual era and what it did to those that was a part of it. So my mom being on crack, my dad being on crack, my auntie being on crack, everybody being on crack, and I'm looking at entitlement syndrome stuff. I know what I learned through psychology, different things that every last one of the kids that they created that deal with, that continues to understand certain things that we all have gotten better. Obviously, that kids group have broken the generational curse in regard to certain things, but there's just certain psychological deficiencies that you deal with.
Jones hit on something earlier. I just thought about it too. Another part of the breakdown between the younger black male and the older black male is a lot of these kids that are around now, they saw the guys me and Mario age use their moms for sex, use their mama house to pump out their mama house. And these younger guys saw how guys our age manipulated that situation in the 80s and the 90s. That's where a lot of the resentment and hatred comes from too.
And it's hate that can't be let go.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, I remember when you did this, and I'm still mad at you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I still to this day, we holding on to certain things because of that. You're right. It's incompetent people in the 70s, in the 80s. Somebody mamas was incompetent or didn't do something or made excuses or was on alcohol, whatever it may be. But when you talk about a era that seems targeted amongst a populace of a group, and then now certain things linger and what came from it, it was immediate and it was long standing and it was
like a bomb.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? When you look at it.
You know what I remember about it most, Jones? I remember guys that sold crack and went to school.
Yeah.
Like would buy them a car, hustle, and still go to school.
I do remember
and
that.
then be like
vividly.
respectful of the teachers in school.
Yeah.
Like didn't get in trouble, bought them a nice little Maxima or something,
Or box Chevy.
little box, and still come to school. Like it was. I mean, obviously it did way more damage, but you do have a quote unquote positive side to it as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Mario hit on it earlier. You could be dead broke one day, and somebody give you something, or you come with $50 in a day and a half, Jones. You can have $1,800. Is that an exaggeration?
Not at all.
Like it was.
And it's really economically.
Yeah.
I mean, economically it did something. We'll never know the real numbers of what crack did to the economy of the United States.
All right.
But we know what it did to the immediate economy of local stores.
Yes.
Your apparels.
Tampa Bay Mall.
Your malls, and you know what I mean. Like we know what that side of it did, but we also
Jones, I'm telling you,
University Mall. They didn't want to let go University Mall.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Jones, think about it. As rough as all the hoods were in the 80s, where would all these corner stores pop up at? In the hood.
Yeah.
That's why people always talk about, oh, people broke in the hood. No, they just got bad spending habits.
Yeah.
Why you see Metro PCSs and convenience stores and Chinese food spots and cleaners and all? No bad spending habits. Nobody, they ain't broke.
Right.
If I'm just gonna spend my money, you go right there, boy. They're gonna drop it off.
Yeah, because that's the only place where somebody walks to the store every day to buy blunts and buy T-shirts and buy this and buy that.
My T-shirt got to have a crease in the middle.
Yeah.
It's got to be fresh.
In your white tee. But no, I mean, like I say, and then especially even being from my area with the whole Lynn Byers. I remember when Lynn Byers died, Jones.
That broke my heart.
You older than me. Like, I remember thinking, dang, Lynn Byers died from
Was he
using
on
cocaine?
Was he?
Cocaine.
It wasn't crack. It was just cocaine.
Yeah.
But of course, they made him the poster child.
Yeah.
And then that led to Congress jumping in, and that's how you get these draconian sentences because, Lynn Byers died. That's near D.C. I'm going to show that I'm tough on crime. No, now you going to show you tough on crime.
Nah, just trickle down.
So, 5-1 crack cocaine to powder cocaine minimum mandatory. Then you say, no, we're going to do 10-1. And he say 15-1. Now that's how you get these disproportionate sentencing guidelines.
And the disproportion was simply because of one race was predominantly pushing
Absolutely.
it. What, it was 13-1?
No, it was higher than that. Like I think
I don't recall vividly what the
it was like 50-1 at one point. Like for every.
So if I'm riding around, I got a kilo of pure cocaine.
Yeah.
I
And
might get 5 days.
you might get some probation.
If you cooked up,
You might get some probation.
hey, he cooked up. He done cooked
Cooked
yours
up.
up. Ready to distribute. 200 years.
200. Ain't got bond money. You know what I'm saying?
And look, and
I done
they,
went all in.
and they gonna give you no bond.
Oh yeah, you all in. Yeah,
No,
it's
you're a
all right.
threat.
So
Cause you changing the chemical makeup. You know what you're doing.
you know what you
You
doing.
added water and baking soda.
And baking soda.
Oh, boy, you gotta get out of here.
And little ethanol.
Yeah, you got too much sense.
And you cooked them up for how many minutes? You knew the time they put on. Ding. Microwave go off. I cook that thing in the microwave. Whip it up. Whip it. Whip it. Yeah, man. I mean, it's. But
I think it was 50-1, something like that.
Yeah,
crazy.
that's pretty crazy. It was we went this particular message wasn't to glorify. We just wanted to touch on lightly our experiences, and all that, and not get too too in depth. We've all had some experience or could touch on it, whether it's some relatability from a friend.
This
or-
is 99 ain't good enough or we keep it 100. I myself have purchased many goods through the crack economy. Mario, whether it be speakers for a car,
Of course,
flat screen TV,
rims,
appliances,
stoves,
stoves, washers, dryers.
all of that.
That's where my speakers went. Huh?
So when it come down to it, if you ever want the hookup, boy, go to the hood where they getting rid of
It
it.
was a whole busting economy right under there, bro.
But you know the saddest part, man. I'm sitting and I'm thinking, and y'all gentlemen know. You've seen so many things and unread so many things where it's just a pattern and it just kept over and over. Because I'm telling you, this was a deal back in the day with heroin. You know what I mean? And then when the Asians came here, it was a deal with marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's always been used.
Always.
It's always been used.
I'm gonna share two stories with you. Somebody told me. One dude told me, he said, "Dad, crack was the first drug that you couldn't participate in and sell it."
I
So
believe
what
that.
you mean? He's like, if you the weed man, you can smoke a little weed. He's like, if you sell heroin, you could dabble in heroin. He said, if you sell powder cocaine, you could sell it and snort it. He said, you can't sell crack and use it. He said it was the first drug. He said that's how a lot of people got caught because they thought they could.
Well, it was. Go
And
ahead.
the other one was the guy who got caught with Freeway Ricky Ross on his last
Don't
indictment.
mention him. Yeah,
When he got in trouble, the real Rick Ross.
Yeah.
He said there was a lady that lived in their neighborhood who was a functioning heroin addict since he was a kid, right? He said she did heroin from the time he was a little boy, Jones. He said, but she had the little bootleg daycare where she'll watch all the kids.
Right.
He said that lady smoked crack for the first time and disappeared for a week after she had been a functioning heroin addict for all his life.
I mean, just a little bit of I ain't gonna say interviews, but just those that because my experience has been a lot of people that I know that's been on it don't really like to talk about being on it.
Right.
They don't. They kind of try to
It's a dark time.
But when those that have given me a little bit, you know what I mean, in regards to like my mother, for example, or whatever, the description of it is you just have never had something take over you like that. Like, and I couldn't imagine. I take pride on having a little bit of discipline, in regard to certain things, but I couldn't imagine. One, it's always been hard for me to ingest something that I know that may not be the best for me, honestly. But when you do it, and now you like, oh my God, it felt so good, and it tastes so good, and it feels so good. I got to keep chasing that
Well, I think
at the disposal of my humanity.
Right.
it's a combination of that, chasing that, but you went there because you had a little bit of despair already. Things wasn't the way you
A
wanted.
little bit more curiosity. You looking for an escape.
It's a hell of a concoction that's been worked up
Yeah.
and used, and it's been used over and over.
Does it not amaze us? I mean, it amazes me that when we looking for something, we always need because of so many moving parts in the world that we in, that we're curious enough for something to almost take us away without having the power to take ourselves away mentally.
Yeah.
That's been drilled in us too.
Yeah, right.
Even from the movies you watch, the dad come home, he unloosen his tie, he sit in his recliner, he got to get a scotch on the rocks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's been drilled in us.
Like, oh, you saw him, so exhausted.
Yeah, like-
I just went and worked 8 hours,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
I gotta have a drink to take the edge off.
don't be happy about where you go to work at. Just go do what you got to do. We get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I got to take the edge.
But maybe we think like that because we've grown, we've seen,
The pace.
we understand.
Yeah.
And we grown. So that's why it's important that we talk about this, and that's why it's important we teach, as you always would say, the pups.
Yeah.
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 You know what I mean?
Young
So the youth movement. I mean, even those that's willing to change, Coach, I'm going to even put a addendum to it.
Mm-hmm.
All of us want to change in some capacity for the better. Some of us don't know how to.
Yeah.
Some of us don't know how to apply certain things, whatever. But anybody that has some level of sincerity, empathy, some level of toughness, some things or something they cared about, and somebody that's recognized something that they might want to change, not change the fabric of who you are, but certain characteristics
Right,
or traits or things that you have to be better. Whether it's patience, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's your delivery, whatever it
Right.
may be, it's certain things that we want to be able to, try to identify and change for the better. So you get hold to the pups early enough, and they can get on the right path to understand. They got the right balance of love, survival, toughness, and hard work, and empathy and sympathy, and and understanding all of the things that we know now that if we lay it all out and say, okay, young man, young lady, follow this direction, do exactly this right here. Understand there's the color's gonna separate us of the people, the religion's gonna separate us because of this, that, and the other, but full autonomy go in this direction, boom, and do this. They might, they'll be able to, do
Have
that.
a fighting chance.
They got a chance. For the older ones that's bullheaded, ego in the way, arrogance in the way, you know what I'm saying? Not respectful enough or whatever. Man, let them have it.
Yeah.
Let
You're
them,
right.
Y'all
You're
got
right.
it.
You got it.
And with that being said, I'll never forget that USL Bulls jersey,
Hey,
shirt ain't nothing.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something.
God, that thing ain't nothing.
I'm gonna tell you something that we all
I should
have in
have worn
common
my night shirt today,
about
man.
this USF shirt. I can say this with full conviction. Everybody sitting up here were not recruited by USF.
Wow. Bobby Pascal, I don't know if you're still alive.
Nah, hey, I'm just giving Coach real.
I don't know.
I'm just
Coach
giving-
Bobby Pascal, okay?
I'm just giving
Went to a
Coach-
couple of your camps. I know you didn't think I was going to be like that. But could you please get this man a shout
I know you was recruited.
and let him know
I know you were recruited.
that if you
by
got an
USF,
All-State
right?
player right here in the city, in the 813,
Whoa.
that your local
Whoa,
All-State
whoa.
first team.
Relax.
Yeah.
Relax. You weren't All-State
My kids don't even know that.
You weren't even.
Is that-
Because that's true. That's
Go
what I
on,
don't know.
1996. Yeah. So don't ever wear that USF stuff next to me, man. You kidding me?
I didn't know you were recruited by him. That's my fault.
We're gonna start it off with you, man. I'll never forget. Let me get my mic back here. I'm chilling. I'm sitting back on this one.
You got one?
No, we went so deep. I had you forgot about
I
it.
got you.
Okay, well,
man.
get what?
I'm gonna tell you what I never forget, and I'm gonna tell you why I never forget, because my ankles and my hips and back hurt right now.
Look, my hip.
I
give me
never
some
forget.
problems. Boy, my right hip.
I never forget when Bree,
Oh, that's good.
when they was younger.
Who that? Debonair D and,
Oh,
and
man.
Andrew
They-
Frazier.
Oh.
Yeah, Frazier.
Going down at prep,
Yeah.
boy.
Shout out to Coach Frazier.
Hey, CT, Carl Thomas, all them young cats.
Shake,
right?
what it do?
Hey, them boys had the IQ, they had the game and everything. So I used to get them in there and I get the shoes on, put the ankle braces on, lighten them
Yes,
up. I said, let's
sir.
play a little bit, fellas. Boy, you try to break their neck.
Let me get that.
Drake used to be like, "You got him." I'd be like, "I ain't scared of him."
You try to break their neck. Hey, and I get him because he was kind of bullish, so I take him in the post just to show him you ain't no
Yeah,
bull.
shoot right up over.
See what I'm saying? Drake was quick. I said, I'm going to handle the ball I had right there. You know, you
Right.
ain't nothing.
Ain't
either.
nothing.
Okay.
Night, boy.
CT, I just beat him up, pushed
Yeah,
him
he
around.
was thin.
He was a little light.
Yeah, he was
to the
light.
tail then.
Yeah,
You
he
know
was
what I
light.
mean?
Yeah.
But then we run 2 or 3. And I never forget because my bones making me remember. That next day, cool.
Man, sound like he used to be walking on popcorn.
And look here. They tell my Jones, you running with us today? Nah,
Never.
young fellas, I'm going to watch y'all.
It's just like-
oh, come on, man. What? I say, man, look here.
It's just like drinking. I ain't drinking 2 days in a row.
Right.
Look here.
Body ache.
Boy,
Yeah.
I feel like body snatcher, boy. Somebody done took all what I got inside, boy. Hey, you thought I was walking on the bed of nails when I came in that thing, boy.
Yeah, the next day he walking gingerly. Hey man, y'all make sure y'all. I'm like, damn, your head, like your voice hurts. You talking soft tonight.
Hey.
Hey man, y'all don't be here with all that.
Hey, and they talking all that trash. Then I don't watch them over the years. They get older. They go play a little bit.
What?
They come in, man. I said, look here, man. You ain't give me no room when I was telling y'all about this.
Destroying.
Man, I played
Okay.
me and a couple of my partners, we played about 2-3 weeks ago. This how far we done fallen, Jones. We playing 2-on-2, but the games are going to 5.
The game of 5.
But see, it's funny to him say that because I never forget how y'all did
Yeah.
me. Man, you ain't gonna play?
I used to be like, Jones, I'm playing on the concrete till I'm 50.
Hey, yeah, okay. And what
Remember
I
I
told
said you
y'all,
were like,
I said, look here, I don't do 2 days in a row, fellas.
Man,
They talking about what? What is that? I said, I don't do 2 days
we
in a row.
played 2 games to 5. I was tired for like 8 days.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
yeah, he was exhausted.
don't want nothing to eat.
Then when you
Tired.
got, hey, and he ain't to the point to where, then when you got to the point, I got to where mine might swell up or something. So I was really done for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But hey, I gave it to him when I was right though.
What
Listen.
you talking about?
I gave it to him, so I never forget that. But y'all got to see that come around.
Yes.
Y'all young
It's
fella.
here.
Now, look here, I get him out there now. We can play some horse. We can shoot some free throws.
Hey, look, I ain't think we're going to have them big boy. Look, no inflammation in the body. I've been working out and running extensively lately.
Yeah.
Man, my right hip ain't
There it
playing
is.
with me right
There
now.
it is.
Really?
There it
What
is.
you say? This right one? I'm sitting down in the chair today. I'm like, man, what's going on?
Hold on. What I got on you? 11, 13?
Yeah, I'm 43.
I see you in 13.
God. Listen.
If I'm here,
That's
I
that,
see
that's
you
that
in
right to
13.
left crossover.
Yeah.
I've been digging in the ground.
Yeah.
E.
Tell Nick
Yeah.
to jump out there.
Listen, boy,
Tell
look.
Nick to jump out there if he want to.
Oh, Nick got to come down by Nick, where you at right now, boy? 240?
Gotta get Nick a microphone too.
But don't you feel like I tell them all the time? They say, "Oh, you can't do it." I can do it, but it ain't worth it.
Man, let me tell you,
pay
it
for
ain't
it.
worth
It
it.
ain't worth
They
it.
be talking about, you gonna play, coach? No, I'm straight. Let me come down a few. I'm straight. Now, I played with him last summer. You see me out there playing with him
Yeah,
last
oh,
summer.
you was killing
We in
too.
straight.
Yeah, he was killing.
I'm here. Look, after that, get home.
But see,
Well, I'm gonna take an ice bath. I'm gonna go in the cryotherapy. I'm
but-
sleeping in the hyperbaric chamber. I'm doing all that to preserve mine, coach.
that's what happened to you though. It fall off the table.
Oh yeah.
You good, man? I'm rolling along. I'm good.
Let's see how quick that thing fell.
That's how quick
Off
it
the
fall.
cliff?
That's how quick it fall.
You'll never forget it.
Hey,
Listen,
look, they say father
you
time
was there.
undefeated.
How I used to dunk that thing.
Oh, so as he got older, he became a 2-foot jumper.
Right.
Putting that thing on the numbers.
That's where I'm at 2 feet right now, but I don't
Really?
even mess with 1 feet no more.
Jones, you just power up. I'm talking about you be trying at the old Tampa prep, trying to rip that
Hey, now
like, neat. I'm talking about like Dominique.
look, I walk up on the rim and say,
They ain't as high.
They raising the rim. down there, son.
Well, look, the crack Aaron Father time we'll never forget.
Never forget.
And with that being said,
yeah.
we signing off. Don't forget to like the video. We still waiting for somebody to send us a topic that you want to hear on. And I promise you, we'll give you what you're looking for. We'll give you what you're
And he
looking
don't
for.
make promises.
I sure don't. That's probably the first one in the last 40
If he
years.
says that, he mean that.
I promise you we'll give you what you're looking for. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up button, like it or dislike it. But when you dislike it, you got to put your name down in your comment to let you know what you didn't like so we can address that. What's happening? 99 ain't good enough where we?
Keep it
Keep it
100.
100.
Oh, no.